First at 5.
Hurricane Idalia making its way towards our area as we speak. The 5 o'clock update just came in. Now a Category 2 storm. It is going to bring heavy rains, wind, and even the possibility for some tornadoes.
Yeah, and right now the hurricane is already starting to hit Florida's western point with rain and winds. It's expected to bring rain and wind to our area later this evening as well.
Right, schools here responding to this threat already. Bamberg County is dismissing early tomorrow and will hold remote learning Thursday. Screven, Emmanuel, and Jenkins County schools will be closed tomorrow. Richmond County schools, they have canceled all outdoor activities tomorrow.
And we check in now with our First Alert Chief Meteorologist, Riley Hale. And Riley, what's the extent of what Idalia could bring our way?
I think the biggest concern is going to be flooding rainfall. We're expecting widespread 3 to 6 inches across the area, so the heavy rain risk has really ramped up since thinking yesterday. So if you live in a flood-prone area, clean those gutters out, make sure your storm drains are cleared out. We are expecting torrential rainfall from this system. Now, you factor in a little bit of wind as well, could see some scattered power outages and possibly even a low tornado threat for some of our southern and eastern counties. Here's the latest. It is a Category 2 5 p.m. update just came through the National Hurricane Center. So sustained winds close to that eye, up to 100 miles per hour, believe it or not. It is still continuing to move north pretty quickly. It was moving north at about 15 miles an hour at the 2 p.m. update. It's picked up in speed by 1 mile per hour, so now moving 16 miles per hour. Still expecting that northern movement, but then this front towards our west, this is going to help nudge it a little bit towards the northeast, but we are expecting just the northern eye wall going to bring us torrential rainfall as it does move in throughout the day on Wednesday. And we have some very heavy rain out there right now, so I don't want to ignore this. We have a flood risk even for today before this storm arrives. You can see widespread heavy rain across most of the CSRA, so this is just kind of saturating us and really just going to help amplify that flood risk heading into tomorrow. National Weather Service put all of our counties underneath a flood watch, so that will stay in effect through tomorrow into tomorrow night. We actually just had a couple of new tropical storm watches added across the area, so that does include Burke County now, Barnwell, Bamberg, and Johnson and Emmanuel County. Much more on this coming up in the full forecast, but let's get a quick update on your First Alert traffic.
And now, First Alert traffic.
All right, live view outside of our studio. You can see the heavy rain in the background, so pretty good look at a rain shaft there from our tower cam. Traffic, not too bad here. Eastbound, westbound lanes appear to be moving smoothly, and then Riverwatch, just kind of the usual hustle and bustle this time of the afternoon. Going out to Grovetown, exit 190, Lewiston Road, looks to be a little bit backed up there at the traffic light, but overall, not really seeing too many traffic issues right now between Augusta and exit 190. You can see the dark skies, though, all around our tower cams. We'll have much more on radar and what to expect tomorrow in just about 10 minutes.
Thanks, Riley. This afternoon, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp issuing a state of emergency for Hurricane Idalia. This went into effect immediately and goes through Friday night. This frees up state emergency management resources and activates the Georgia Emergency Operations Plan. This also makes available up to 1,000 Georgia National Guard troops to be used in preparation, response, and recovery efforts.
And on the other side of the river in South Carolina, Governor Henry McMaster also issuing a state of emergency. Here's Mary Green with the details.
Governor McMaster is urging South Carolinians to use common sense as Idalia is forecast to head this way, saying the state is thoroughly prepared for it.
That state of emergency declaration allows all of our agencies to move more quickly, to move people and equipment, and to remove restrictions if necessary that slow things down.
The governor says no shelters are open now, but that the state is prepared to set them up. He says he spoke yesterday with the head of FEMA, who offered whatever help the state may need. McMaster encourages South Carolinians to have their prescriptions, papers, and pets ready if they need to leave their homes, to be prepared to go without power if it goes out, and he reminds them to not drive through floodwaters. While the main impacts are expected along the coast, the governor cautions all South Carolinians to be ready for heavy rains and winds.
SLED has been in touch with all the sheriffs. We've been in touch with all the power companies, Office of Regulatory Staff. We're moving people and equipment already to get them positioned. And if it gets better, that's good. If it gets worse, gets stronger, we're prepared to go all in.
McMaster says at this point he does not expect to issue any evacuation orders or call for the closure of state buildings. Of course, school districts do have the discretion to call for their own closures. Reporting from the State House, I'm Mary Green.
And the governor says the state's Emergency Operations Center in Lexington County is activated and will be fully staffed tomorrow morning to monitor this storm.
Energy companies, meanwhile, like Dominion Energy, Georgia Power, and Jefferson Energy, say they're preparing for Hurricane Idalia. Some are stationing extra crew members all across the state. The companies are warning their customers to be prepared for power outages and have a flashlight and emergency kit ready because it could take some time before power is restored to everybody.
Severe weather, heavy rains, high winds. That's something that we're used to in the state of Georgia. And so our crews, like I said, they're ready to hit the ground running as soon as it's safe to do so. We're mobilizing our crews. So what that means is strategically placing them statewide, the areas where we think we're going to see the largest impact. And that'll be adjusted, as we get more and more information.
Officials stress staying away from downed power lines and highlight their app as the quickest way to report power outages.
Today, the family of a Wagner Sally High School teacher speaking out for the first time since her unusual death. Janelle Robinson was hit by a power pole after a truck hit power lines, snapping the power pole, sending it flying through the air. Now, Robinson's parents' message today was about giving back to the community and making sure that something like this never happens again.
They also took time to tell more about who Janelle was. Our Taylor Martin joins us now live in the newsroom. And Taylor, what did we learn about her today?
Well, the family tearfully spoke about Janelle today, reflecting on who she was, calling her loving and someone who impacted the lives of the people she loved. Janelle Robinson, who her family affectionately called Pumpkin, among many other nicknames, was a light. Her family says she loved teaching, loved reading, loved her students at Wagner Sally High School, and loved them just as much as they loved her. It was an emotional moment for Janelle's dad as he remembered his daughter.
I'm her daddy. And they asked me to speak because she couldn't. Janelle was a loving soul who touched a lot of people.
On our News 12 at 6 o'clock, we're breaking down what the family is requesting, hoping to make things right after their daughter's death.
Thank you, Taylor. Just an awful tragedy that Robinson's family and friends are facing. We're definitely keeping them in our thoughts. Her students, too.
Absolutely a tragic loss there. Thanks, Taylor. Well, South Carolina investigators are looking into the possibility that the suspected Gilgo Beach serial killer is connected to a missing South Carolina woman. Rex Heuermann was arrested on July for murder charges for the deaths of 3 women whose bodies were found in 2010. Now, Heuermann owns land less than 2 hours from where Julia Ann Bean was last seen alive in 2017. Bean was last seen in a vehicle matching the description of a vehicle parked in Heuermann's Chester County property. Investigators believe this truck is also connected to the Gilgo Beach murders. Now, the FBI declined to comment on any involvement in this investigation. Working in law enforcement is already a difficult job, especially when there are not enough people to fill those roles. A survey released earlier this year by the Police Executive Research Forum shows that police departments are recruiting more officers, but departments across the country have also seen 47% more resignations. In Charleston County, the sheriff's office has 47 deputy openings and 97 detention officer openings. North Charleston has 20 to 30 vacancies, and many other low country offices have 10 to 20 vacancies. Now, officers in areas facing this shortage say there's not just one solution to this issue. Some are considering allowing retired officers to work in departments again and more options to certify officers. Another possible fix is through supporting technical schools to help train more officers as well.
University of North Carolina students shaken to their core after a faculty member is shot and killed on campus. Just ahead, what we know so far. Riley.
And tomorrow is a first alert weather day. We are expecting widespread heavy rainfall that could lead to a lot of flooding across the area and also a low severe weather risk. Much more on this full forecast just after the break. Tomorrow is a first alert weather day in the CSRA. Make sure you're staying prepared by scanning the QR code on your screen to download the First Alert weather app and stay weather aware. Here's how easy it is. Simply open your camera on your phone. Hover that over the QR code, click the link, and then download the app. Now you have access to the latest forecast for your area, severe weather notifications, the First Alert radar network, the most accurate radar network in our area, right at the palm of your hands. Download now.
Click, click.
Welcome back, folks. Here's the latest on Idalia. We are looking at a Category 2 hurricane right now. Sustained winds up to 100 miles per hour. It's moving north at about 16 miles an hour, so it's got a good northern pace to it. We're expecting an eventual northeast turn as it does make landfall by early tomorrow morning. And by the time this storm gets close to us, most likely going to be a dying Cat 1 into a tropical storm. So still some wind threat for us here locally, but definitely not what they're expecting along the Florida Gulf Coast. And that is where the worst impacts will definitely be felt. But right now, it looks like our time frame to be impacted by this storm is going to start early tomorrow morning with some rainfall, and then we'll see that wind pick up tomorrow afternoon, and that's really when the worst of it will be, kind of late into the day on Wednesday. Here's a current look at our radar network, so you can see this is Idalia right down there, starting to get a pretty good eye to it, so it's healthy. We have showers and storms forming ahead of Idalia for us here this afternoon, so this is actually bringing a flood risk today before the main event actually does arrive. We do have a flood advisory in effect for Allendale and portions of Screven County. We've seen torrential rainfall there with storms, and any planes out there this evening definitely looking pretty wet for you. This is the first alert in effect for the entire CSRA tomorrow, so we have expanded that first alert to include every single county in our area. The reason why the heavy rain threat has really pushed across most of the CSRA, so now we're expecting widespread 3 to 5 inches, over 5 inches definitely looks like a possibility for a lot of locations, and that's going to be the main concern with this storm for us here locally. We know that we flood very easily, and we've already seen a lot of rain over the last couple of days, so that's just going to amplify that flood risk for us. Now, it is going to be windy. This is a tropical system, so as soon as it gets close to us tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, we're expecting those wind gusts 30 to 50 miles an hour. That could lead to a few power outages, and there's also going to be a low and severe weather threat. Remember, those rain bands can quickly spin up tornadoes, so we're going to have to monitor that risk. Currently looks to be an issue mainly south and east of Augusta, but everyone is underneath a flood watch, so this is in anticipation of the very heavy rain from Idalia tomorrow. And take a look at this. The moderate flood risk has now expanded all the way to Augusta and the I-20 corridor, so this is actually a new update that just came in a couple minutes ago. This is what we're really focusing on, folks. The moderate risk, numerous flash floods will be possible tomorrow, and especially for those flood-prone areas, because this isn't just going to be kind of spot seeing 3 to 5. This is going to be a large swath of our area seeing torrential rainfall throughout the day on Wednesday. Take a look at this. Wherever you're seeing the orange, yellowish color, that is over 4 inches of rain and potentially getting close to 6, 7 inches in a few smaller locations. So significant rainfall for our area, folks. We have not seen a heavy rain event like this in a good while. A couple of new tropical storm watches added to our viewing area. So Burke County, Barnwell, you are now underneath a tropical storm watch. You can see there's a little gap here between Millen, Jenkins, Allendale County. I would imagine the Weather Service in Charleston does add those 3 counties to the tropical storm watch later this evening. So that's where the most likely chance to not only see the heavy rain, but the addition of maybe a wind threat. So that's the difference between the flood alerts and these tropical alerts. This is where the wind threat is going to be a little bit higher, where those watches are in effect. And that's why we have put out a power outage risk for mainly the southern CSRA, highlighted in orange. That's where those impacts are going to be most likely to give way to some power outages. Stronger wind gusts, 45, 55 miles per hour tomorrow. Rain totals look to be 3 to 6, maybe more than that in a few locations. And highlighted in orange here, that's also where there's going to be the possibility of a few tornadoes. Now, highlighted in yellow, mainly a heavy rain threat, but still seeing some good gusts, possibly over 40 at times. But it looks like the tornado threat will be mainly for that orange shaded area we're just looking at. This is the latest from the Storm Prediction Center. You can see a slight risk in effect for Screven, Allendale, Bamberg, Barnwell counties, and then that marginal risk does extend into portions of Aiken, Burke, and even Emmanuel and Jenkins counties. So this is where the threat for tornadoes is most likely going to be tomorrow, highlighted in that yellow color. You can quickly scan this QR code. This will take you to our flow code page, so this will have kind of all the graphics, because where you live, it's going to be a very location dependent forecast for you. So this is the best way to kind of stay on top of it. Look at all the graphics I was just showing and see how you're expecting to see the day tomorrow play out for your specific location. Tomorrow is a first alert weather day. Keep it here for those weather updates. Luckily, beautiful weather in the forecast Thursday through most of next week.
Thanks, Riley. This just in, live at 5, Johnson County Schools announcing that ahead of Hurricane Idalia, classes will be canceled tomorrow. They join Screven, Emanuel, and Jenkins counties in canceling classes. Aiken County Schools also just announcing that classes will dismiss 2 hours early tomorrow, and classes will start 2 hours later on Thursday. Well, the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill canceling classes one day after a faculty member is shot and killed on campus. Thanks, Riley. This just in, live at 5, Johnson County Schools announcing that ahead of Hurricane Idalia, classes will be canceled tomorrow. They join Screven, Emanuel, and Jenkins counties in canceling classes. Aiken County Schools also just announcing that classes will dismiss 2 hours early tomorrow, and classes will start 2 hours later on Thursday. Well, the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill canceling classes one day after a faculty member is shot and killed on campus.
The aftermath shaking students to their core and is leaving many wondering why. Ali Vitali has the latest.
Just 1 week after classes began at UNC Chapel Hill,
Possible active shooter on campus.
a tragedy that's become all too familiar at schools nationwide.
Has a 9mm possible Asian male.
I'm grieved to report that one of our faculty members was killed in this shooting. This loss is devastating.
After the initial call for shots fired, the entire campus went on lockdown. A school alert warning an armed, dangerous person on or near campus. Go inside now. Avoid windows. Heavily armed officers swarmed the campus. Some students walking down the street with their hands up. Some sheltering in place.
So immediately we all just stayed hiding in the stalls, squatting on the toilets, just scared. We didn't know what was happening.
Other terrified students fleeing through a first-floor window, backpacks dangling. An elementary school across the road also placed on lockdown. Then, less than 90 minutes after the terrifying ordeal began,
I think that's him.
a suspect was taken into police custody, captured live by our NBC News Raleigh affiliate WRAL.
To actually have the suspect in custody, it gives us an opportunity to figure out the why and even the how.
And 4 hours after the chaos began, police giving the all clear. But students left deeply shaken.
Honestly, it makes me feel a little bit sick because this is a situation that we really shouldn't even have to be worrying about.
And those who knew the suspect, stunned.
Because I would have never guessed that he would be the kind of person who could possibly be capable of this kind of thing.
The suspected gunman is facing a first-degree murder charge and a charge of having a gun on educational property. If convicted, he could face the death penalty. We're back in a bit.
Cadillac.
The sun is setting on Toyota's national sales event. Wait, they have until September 5th.
Right now, get 2.75% APR for 36 months on a new 2023 Toyota Tacoma. Toyota, let's go places. I'm a Trinity Care Center.
The sun is setting on Toyota's national sales event. Wait, they have until September 5th.
Right now, lease a new 2023 Toyota Corolla LE for just $239 a month for 36 months. Toyota, let's go places.
When a hurricane comes our way, we shelter in place or try to get away. But in order to know exactly what the storm is doing, someone has to go towards these huge storms.
And more specifically, fly into these storms. Kendra Kent shows us how this incredible science works.
It's not just getting more data, it's getting unique data. It's getting data we wouldn't get otherwise.
Big things are happening at National Hurricane Center with very small aircraft. The hurricane hunters are now testing drones to gather data when flying into hurricanes. Hurricane hunters have been flying into hurricanes for decades, using aircraft
just like this one. And it's been gathering important information that's been saving lives as well as protecting property. Well, now aircraft like these will be flying into hurricanes and in some situations actually deploying drones to go into the actual storm. And drones could truly change the game. I asked Dr. Joseph Sion with the Hurricane Research Division of NOAA how these small 27-pound unmanned aircraft could withstand hurricane winds.
We put little boats or even sticks into the river, and we kind of chase it along the side and watch it. So you have this raging current with this little stick. Now what happened to that stick? Did that stick snap in half and disappear and shatter? No, it bounced around. It went with the stream. So we basically do employ the same technique, and in that we don't try to fight Mother Nature, we go with the winds.
And those winds can be intense. The Altia 600 drone flew through Hurricane Ian back in 2022 and was able to return wind readings of over 200 miles an hour. Dr. Sion emphasized that as the drone flies and flows through the hurricane, it will collect unique data that is more like a movie of a hurricane as opposed to a snapshot. We will get a better picture of the storm along with data closer to the surface where we all live. Essentially, it can reach more dangerous parts of the storm where manned aircraft can't go.
We expect to use this type of technology routinely, which we hope will protect property and save lives and, give us much better forecasts going forward. That's our ultimate goal.
Well, very useful data that scientists definitely use to take a bigger look at those hurricane systems. Now, we do have a new winner for our Plunkett Heat and Air Sunshade giveaway. Congratulations to Felicia Reed from Augusta, Georgia. To get your own sunshade, go to wrdw.com. We'll have much more on the forecast coming up just after the break. All right, folks, welcome back. Here's an hour-by-hour look at what we're expecting over the next 24, 36 hours. Outer rain bands from Idalia will start to move in by early tomorrow morning, really pick up by midday into the afternoon. The afternoon into the early evening, that's going to be our worst time frame. That's when the rain's going to be heaviest. That's when our wind's picking up, possibly a low severe weather threat as well with some of those outer rain bands. This storm will finally move east of us as we head into late Wednesday night. By Thursday, we're looking beautiful and hanging on to really nice weather most of the week. But remember, tomorrow is a first alert weather day. We'll have much more coming up on Live at 5 with the forecast and also local news.